everyone. So today I want to talk about hip rolls versus hip bridging. And honestly, there's a time and a place for doing, say, each of them. I personally, if you followed me for a while, know that I love hip rolls because they are so effective for teaching you about your deep core, strengthening your deep core. Bridges can be great for, yes, strengthening your glutes, but bridges are not so great if all you're doing is feeling pressure and strain into your back. So it's all about how we are executing exercises. So I'm gonna explain both of them here. So let me slide on back to my mat. So on our back here, and I'm gonna actually just put my arms out to the side just so you can see my hips really well. And I've got a black shirt on, which probably wasn't the best choice here, but you'll be able to see here. So as you inhale, breathing out to your sides, and then exhale with a hip roll, you wanna think pelvic tilts, right? So it's from your pelvic floor, lower belly, start to articulate. Notice how I'm rolling slowly. I'm gonna wrap my ribs here, so you wanna think about this wrapping. Then once my back touches the floor, I want to push my feet into the ground and activate my glutes and hamstrings and really slowly peel up here, one vertebrae at a time, so that I'm going up and I'm feeling a lot of work. My deep core here, wrapping around my ribs, and my glutes and hamstrings are also working. Okay, and then as you go back down, and you can practice these with your arms out to the side as well, but sometimes initially it's better if they're down here. As we roll down, you want to think ribs first. Exhale, articulate from the ribs, and keep your booty up. Try not to let your butt go down right away. It can follow you, but you want to really slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time so that we're feeling our deep core, strengthening and lengthening our spine, and then lengthen all the way down, letting your pelvis go as anterior as it feels okay for you. You never want to feel pain in your back. Okay, so I'll show a couple of these. So exhale, think pelvic tilt, slowly roll. We want to feel the deep layers of our abs, then the glutes and hamstrings, slowly helping to bring you up. Wrap the ribs, soften the chest. And so when you get up here, you can also add some little pulses, which can be very effective, but you want to watch this. I don't ever want to see any of this because that's when you feel the back pain. So we want to wrap, close the ribs, glutes and hamstrings. Think about really connecting through the core. And if you don't feel your abs working once you get to the top, you probably need to lower down a little bit and not go as high. When we decrease our range of motion through these, they can be even more effective for your body. So as we're lowering down, hips stay here, think ribs, wrap the ribs and soften. I want you to think of your spine, sometimes thinking of it as like a string of pearls, and you want to have each one lay down on its own before the next. Helps you so you can get more movement and articulation of your spine. So those are hip roll. I'll just show one more in like real time. So exhale, nice and slow, activate from the pelvic floor, allow the pelvis to tilt, but my glutes are not working yet. It's still just deep core. Wrap the ribs, then glutes and hamstrings start to take you up one vertebrae at a time here. Go to where you can still connect through your core and no stress or tension in your back or your neck. And then as you roll down, exhale, soften your ribs, use your deep core and those abs to help you to articulate your spine, lengthen, allow some width and arch of your low back. So when we do bridges, the biggest difference is, and one way to make bridges actually more effective would be to do some of these hip rolls before you go into bridging, so you've got your core working. But one thing I see a lot of that's done incorrectly with bridging is the core isn't really connected as well, and then if someone just lifts and you do a bridge right from here and you're pulling in your back, or so it's two ways, right? One is if you're pulling in your back, or two, if you're over tucking your pelvis, this actually shuts off the deep core. See how excessively tucked I am? Even in my hip rolls, I was going slightly, but I wasn't jamming anything. So we never want to force or jam anything. When we actually do less, I was actually talking about this from our new course that we're creating today, but when you do less, it can actually be more, okay? So with a bridge, you want to think, connecting lightly through the core. Don't be overly arched. Don't be overly tucked. Just kind of find a nice neutral pelvis. A way to think of that is if you had a wine glass on your pelvis right above your pubic bone here, you don't want to spill it when you're here. That's kind of a good visual to think of here. So if we're doing bridging, we want to think, okay, zipping up from the core, wrapping the ribs so our core is on. We want to think glutes and hamstrings, feet pushing down into the ground, and then core is on as we go to lift up. And then when you lift up, right, so notice that I'm not overly arched and I'm not overly tucked here. And you feel a good lift of the hamstrings up underneath the sits bones, kind of thinking like that butt smile area. So we want to be lifting the booty, because as our booty gets stronger, we're also strengthening our core and also our back as well, because our glutes connection plays a big role in both of those. So you should be in a position where you can feel the pelvic floor and deep core in order to do a bridge very effective. And then from here you could do some pulsing of bridges and just lowering partway down and then lifting up, and just doing really tiny pulses actually could be very effective for you. But tune into your body and check in that you're feeling pelvic floor, low belly, deep core, ribs, no stress in your back. Now, if you're feeling anything in your back, what you should be feeling is just some nice, easy stability happening along your spine, but no pain, no stress. Right? And then when you lower down, I actually like to do rolling on the way down. I think it's a good way to release the back if there was any stress. Or you could just, lower on down, but do something afterwards to give yourself a little release. You could do some hip rolls. You can also do single leg ones. I would put the legs together when you go up, and then, extending a leg either up towards the sky, doing some little booty lifts here, making sure your leg isn't out to the side. You want to really feel weight down into your foot. And you can do some of these. But the great thing is you can do hip rolls, and then at the top you can do some little booty lifts. And those actually can be way more effective for your body than if you're just doing bridging. So if you notice any pain or anything through movement, that is a number one sign that you should, decrease your range of motion and really focus on reconnecting with your core. And if you don't understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about deep core, I highly, highly recommend you check out my core rehab program, which is inside the membership, because through that I teach you so many fundamentals that really need to be out there in the world, because a lot of times we just fast track, we want to feel the burn, we want to get that six pack or lift the booty or whatever it is, but you may not be understanding the big, the overall picture of how to connect through the body. Because yes, it's great to be strong and all of that, but it's also great to understand how everything connects together. And a lot of times with the deep core strength, if we're over activating one area of our body, we're missing activation somewhere else. So it's about creating balance. And so when you take a step back, learn a lot of these fundamentals, then all of a sudden the workouts you were doing as you work back into the high intensity workouts, the strength training, resistance training, all of that, it actually becomes more effective. And we hear that time and time and time again. A good example is our women who love to run, is that when they take a step back and really work on the process through core rehab, learn how to connect with their body, create more strength and stability through the hips. If you missed my video last week where we talked about the hip popping, that was a really, really big one. So if you want more on the hips, be sure to check that out. I'll link that below. But tune into that. But when you really take a step back and learn how to create these deep connections through your body, which in the beginning can sound foreign. So in any of these videos, if you're like, Erica, I really am not sure what you're talking about, know that that's very, very normal, because this stuff isn't taught mainstream, but I'm working on that to help get it out there. So tune in, check that out with core rehab, or check out a lot of my other videos. But just knowing that taking a step back a lot of times and really connecting with your body can really propel you forward, help you to feel stronger and healthier and less aches and pains and all of that, and just set you up to have a much better quality of life, because you deserve to feel amazing.